And Reading ink is just what I call, I guess, my videography production. I don't care about being incorporated. It's just I like the way that the INC looks next to the ING. And yes, what's up? When I first came on to a Navy ship in 2000, it was in Hawaii, and when I went on my first deployment and then my second deployment, I always thought that it would be something that I'd want to document with video. VCR cameras, where you put the big VCR tape in the camera and you sling it on your shoulder and not really doing any editing, just start, stop VCR, over the shoulder VCR camera work was all I had done in the past. You know, being an artist in the Navy, or just being in the Navy in general, it is just such a visual and intense visual experience. And coming up on, you know, researching computers and looking at the video cameras, and through the years just how much smaller and smaller they've gotten, I started researching, and I was able to get the equipment that I needed to make these videos. Now, in terms of like what influences my style, or what influences me, I'm not really into movies. I'm not really into TV. I'm not really a big fan of any directors per se. I think what influences me the most in terms of my videos is growing up with MTV, when MTV was MTV. You know, the other day I watched a Flock of Seagulls, I Ran video, and I watched it, and I remember watching it when I was younger, and it's just such a simple video, and I was just like, that's it. That's what I'm influenced by in terms of what it is that I try to do with keeping short clips and keep things popping. I'm just trying to piece this together while underway on a warship, and that within itself is just very challenging and very limiting. I mean, I already had a guy knocking on the door, distracting me up here in the boatswain's locker. But what influences my style overall, I would have to say, is music videos. A little less haze gray. Last deployment, I did a deployment video project. I would call it USS Momsen Deployment 2008. Very similar to what I'm doing now, but I wanted to do something that documented how the Navy has evolved since I've been in, and I wanted to do it in a way that was entertaining and just informative. And I had done 2 earlier chapters where I did interviews and spoke about the undermanning, or what the Navy feels is the correct manning. And I came off as I was kind of whining, and I didn't really like those edits. You know, the first chapter, I wanted it to be just like a creep in to getting underway, and then the second chapter, I wanted it to be like a caffeinated, a very fast-paced, visually fast-paced, caffeinated, grooving depiction of what it is that we do as a boatswain's mate in deck on this ship, and what happened throughout the years since 2006 to 2010. In chapter 3, the rack, I just had this idea that I wanted to do an entire video inside of my rack on the warship, which, I don't know, it is what it is, and it's done. Or how we cope with short sleep duration and whatnot. And my goal with chapter 5 is basically show how much since we got underway again, we were originally supposed to get underway, and then we came back to home port, and now we got underway again. So chapter 5 is like a re-beginning of the beginning, and so now we're officially out there on deployment, and it's starting to groove. Part 5 is going to be about, you know, how many hours we're working and how many evolutions we execute, and comparing those hours and averages to the standards of Department of Labor, American labor laws. You know, last deployment we had 19 without the chief or the division officer, and this time we just lost 3 people when we left, and 1 more is leaving. So it's getting down to where when you have a person from your division doing food service attendant or going to ERO 9 to do damage control maintenance, we end up where we're just going to have 10 or 11 people. Whereas last deployment we scraped by with 19. This deployment we're doing it with like 10 or 11 people. I don't know. I'm documenting this thing because physically, I mean, the guys that are 19 through 25 or whatever, they can deal with a lot better than I can at 41 years old and having to cope with these kind of hours of being on my feet. You know, you got to understand that a lot of these hours that in chapter 5 or part 5 that you'll see, these hours, we're not sitting at a console. A lot of these hours that you see in part 5 are on your feet, moving, maintenance, flight quarters, boat ops, preservation, maintenance, hours, watch standing hours, on your feet, moving. Or Big Navy feels that less people is better, and A Little Haze Gray is my documentary to show that experience and let the viewer determine whether they think that it's better or not. I really don't have an opinion. I'm just trying to survive. Primarily this project is for my daughter Vivian, because this document is something that I want to show her.
Church services will be held in CTRR at 9:30.
This is something that I want to show her when... Hey, what's up? Yeah, I'm conducting an interview with myself.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So let me finish. You can hang out. Don't think I'm talking to myself over here. Which I am, but it's with the camera so I can do... Alright, cool. Alright, basically this video is for my daughter Vivian, because I can't spend as much time with her as I'd like, and when she gets older I want her to have a document from me kind of showing her the experiences that I was having while working in the Navy fleet. These videos are for the friends and family of the crew members on USS Momsen, and for other people in the Navy to watch and sort of see what it is that I have going on and the way that I'm perceiving or documenting what's happening right now in the Navy fleet. I just hope that, you know, 1, I don't get in trouble for producing this product, and 2, people just enjoy it for whatever reason, and 3, just I enjoy the process. You know, being an artist or an arty type person on board a warship. My Macintosh computers and my cameras become the canvas and the paint strokes for paintings in which I create, but in a sense of a more digital media, which I'm starting to get better and better at perfecting and uploading and learning about. And so with that, later.